Okay, so we're going to go into the topic of the hindrances. And this morning, I'll give a little overview of the hindrances. So the word hindrance is interesting. This is a classic Buddhist teaching. Um, Hindrance can suggest something's annoying, like a pebble in your shoe, or something kind of constantly nipping at your feet, but it can also function as a wake up call. Pay attention, something's important here. The traditional teaching um, speaks of five hindrances. Desire is considered a hindrance, ill will or aversion. Um, they use a archaic term, sloth and torpor. We use a more modern term, sleepiness, restlessness, and doubt. But before we explore them this week, we'd like to ask a question prior. What do the hindrances hinder us from? So, in one area of Buddhism, in Buddhist teaching, specifically concentration practices, the answer is pretty straightforward. Hindrances hinder concentration, absorption, and mental unification. Reflective meditation invites us to different answers. So, in our early years, we learned the hindrances decades ago, and this is how I remember them being presented. If any hindrance is present, you won't be able to meditate properly. Okay. And recently, in some of our restudying the hindrances, um, this statement encapsulates this sentiment. It's from Bhikkhu Analayo. According to the discourses, if a hindrance is present and one doesn't recognize it, one is mismeditating. So these can be intimidating statements when you're learning to meditate, even long-term meditators. If you come across these, you can start to doubt. The hindrance. It could bring in the hindrance of doubt. But they're even more, or they were even more intimidating because all five are familiar companions in our daily life. And this message seemed to state that hindrances are problems. And you can see it in the simile, which illustrates the effect of each hindrance through an image of a bowl filled with water. And that bowl is then used as a mirror to look at one's reflection, your face in that reflection. So the effect of desire in this water, it's similar to water mixed with dye. Aversion in ill will resembles water heated to the boil. Sloth and torpor, sleepiness, is compared to water overgrown with algae. Restless and worry affect the mind like water stirred by wind. And doubt is like dark, muddy water. So, in all five cases, one is unable to see one's reflection clearly. So, in those early days, we learned to body scan them away, breathe through them, move them along. Don't stop and think about them. Don't engage them, because if you do, they'll grow. So we have a different relationship. We're looking at a different relationship with the hindrances in reflective meditation. Um, do we invite these states, these hindrances into meditation by allowing our lives into the meditation? Yeah, we do. But do we embrace them uncritically? No, we don't. Because really, our direction is more in line with being curious about them, curious about the hindrances. And it changes so much when you become curious about something. And you can't always be right away. Sometimes it takes time to be curious about something. But a hindrance becomes less of a hindrance when we're interested in it, less of a hindrance when we're friendly toward it. And the traditional hindrances don't function in quite the same way in our practice because reflective meditation isn't primarily a concentration practice, though we do have areas where we have focus and absorption as part of the practice. And of course, we value seeing clearly. All of us can appreciate the image of clear water, drinking clear water. Um, we know that when the mind is calm and settled, certain things are easier to discern. But in reflective meditation, we're interested in another kind of seeing. So, what can be learned from water when it's boiling? From water laced with algae, from wind stirring the surface of the water, from the dark and muddy depths. So rather than treating these states as intruders that must be removed during meditation, though at times you might find that you do need to remove them or you need to change the channel. I mean, this is the kind of discernment that comes with being curious about letting the hindrances be in your meditation. Because we're pointing into the area of they are experiences. They're experiences that can be investigated. And if you name them too quickly, or if you think it's, a certain hindrance and try to eliminate it, you might not know what all you need to know about it. So in one sense, we're saying that the hindrances may obscure one form of seeing while opening another. That there's many ways to see some of our experiences. So maybe this morning we'll consider the muddy water as the teaching. The algae that's floating around is what we're going to learn something from. And that if we're boiling and stirred, that there are other things within those experiences that maybe need to be known. Okay, I'm ending a little early today. A few more minutes of meditation. We'll stop there.